Hey guys, Happy New Year and welcome back to the channel McNallie Money, home of all things stock, investment, and personal finance related. Now for today's video, we're going to be profiling my top 3 crypto or Bitcoin related companies for the year 2023. I'm super excited to see where Bitcoin ends up at the end of the year, moving into our next halving event in 2024. I'm extremely bullish on this sector and I'm really looking to be exposed to these type of companies as I think this offers tremendous upside throughout the next year to year and a half time frame. Now I'm really excited to walk you through my top 3 picks. They're Hut 8 Mining, Bitfarms Limited, and CleanSpark. We're going to get into some detail. We're going to talk about their December production results, but before we do, please take a second, hit the like button, you guys. It's a big help to myself and the channel. If you're not already subscribed, McNallie Money, feel free to do so, and let me know in the comment section below which of the 3 you prefer, if you're buying right now, and why you like 1 or 2 of these stocks over the others. Now with that being said, let's get into today's video. Okay guys, so first video of 2023, I took a couple of weeks off for the holiday break and I wanted to kick things off with a banger. So we're going to be talking about the production update for the month of December for my top 3 crypto or Bitcoin mining companies, starting with Hut 8 Mining because this is my biggest position and I've recently been adding in the form of shares. I bought about 1,000 shares over the holiday break, and this is one that I feel super confident in based on my research and the recent interviews we've had with Sue Ennis, who's the VP of Corporate Development for this organization. So the format of this video, we're going to jump over to the corporate websites. I'll give you guys each of these companies' claim to fame or how they differentiate themselves from the other miners. Then we're going to go into the December production results and talk about my thoughts moving forward for these 3 organizations. So Hut 8 Mining, really the claim to fame here, you guys, 100% Canadian focused. They've got multiple different mines. They've also got a high performance computing division that's throwing off millions of dollars each quarter in revenue for this organization. So a diversified business model. And on top of that, they're steadfast in their hold on for dear life strategy. We just confirmed that with Sue in our last interview. They're not selling a single Bitcoin. They recently authorized up to $200 million worth of at the money or at the market equity so they can issue more shares to finance some upcoming M&A activity, which Sue alluded to. They've got a very healthy balance sheet in the form of cash and Bitcoin reserve and virtually no debt on their books. So this is the one I'm most confident in terms of surviving the bear market we're seeing in crypto. Hut 8 Mining has an absolute massive reserve of Bitcoin. It's the largest unencumbered self-mined stack of Bitcoin in the world of any publicly traded company. And as you can see here on the company website, always ahead of the curve. They're the #1 holder of self-mined Bitcoin in North America. I believe that's actually worldwide. They're the first Canadian data mining company to be listed on the NASDAQ, and they've got that proven track record of successfully navigating bull and bear market Bitcoin market cycles. So they were actually around in the last bear market as well, and that's why I believe the management team has been so focused on balance sheet strength and really being able to weather this storm. Now, Jamie Leverton, who's the CEO of this organization, has a ton of experience in the digital computing space, and she made a conscious decision to focus on Canada exclusively, as Sue talked about in our last interview, which is proving to be a very productive or great decision as we're starting to see some import restrictions that are hindering or hurting other mining companies that have gone south of the border, especially in South America. So I thought that was a very strategic move. She's got a real focus on fiscal stability within the organization. And again, one of the main reasons that this is my largest position in the crypto mining space. Now, if we jump over to the Hut 8 production and operational update for the month of December, unfortunately, Hut 8 puts this out a couple of days later than any of the other miners, so we had to wait for this one to come out. This came out January 6th, so Friday morning. They mined 161 Bitcoin in the month of December, so really well below the other 2 companies, which are Bitfarms and CleanSpark that we're going to talk about, that were up close to 400 or 500 Bitcoin in the month. However, the big differentiator here again for Hut 8 Mining is that they're not selling any of these Bitcoin. So throughout 2022, that gives them a total of 3,568 Bitcoin mined throughout the year. And you can see that each and every one or 100% of those Bitcoin have been added to their balance sheet, which increased their overall reserve by 65. And they've now crossed that 9,000 Bitcoin milestone. So to be specific, they're sitting at 9,086 Bitcoin in their custody or in in their reserve. Now, as we continue to scroll through the article, you can see this worked out to about 5.2 Bitcoin per day. They're keeping with that hold on or hodl strategy that I talked about in the intro. And they now have an installed hash rate capacity as of the end of December of 2.5 exahash among their Alberta facilities, which are still online. Now, one of the other metrics we've started to talk about recently on the channel is really the efficiency of their exahash or their capacity. So Hut 8 on average is producing about 64.4 Bitcoin per exahash, at least in the month of December. And as we move through today's presentation, I'll be sure to compare some of these key metrics for the other miners to really give you guys a nice comparative analysis in terms of the wins and losses between these three competitors. Now, one of the major concerns right now with Hut 8 Mining is their North Bay facility remains suspended. They're currently having a dispute with the power provider to this location. Again, we talked about that in the most recent interview with Sue Ennis, so I would encourage you guys to go in and take a watch if you're invested in Hut 8 Mining. They're currently looking to explore alternative measures to mitigate the impact of this, so third-party energy suppliers to this location. However, as Sue mentioned, it's not the worst thing that could possibly happen at this point in time. Because the price of Bitcoin is so low and energy prices are so high, having this operation suspended or on hold really means that there's no cash going out the door in North Bay or at this facility, which, if you think about it, if you're ever going to have one of your facilities paused or on hold, this is the perfect time to do so. Now, they also brought in a new CFO during the month of December, so a big addition to the personnel team here. And the CEO, Jamie Leverton, really wraps up the year with her comments, "I'm proud of the team's collective and continued grit and perseverance through the headwinds that built up in late Q4 of 2022. In spite of the challenging market forces, we continued growing the largest unencumbered self-mined Bitcoin stack of any publicly traded company, welcomed a new CFO, and our balance sheet first approach has positioned us well for 2023. So really the big factors or big components that we already touched on in today's presentation. And when they talk about their Bitcoin stack being unencumbered, that really means that it's not staked, it's not loaned out, and there's no risk to that reserve of over 9,000 Bitcoin being impacted. Now, next up is Bitfarms Limited. This is my second biggest position in terms of my crypto mining companies. Again, I hold both shares and call option contracts on both Hut 8 Mining and Bitfarms. Now, the key differentiators here, you guys, as you can see in the company info on the corporate website, they've got a huge capacity, so 188 megawatts currently online. 10 farms in operation throughout Canada, the United States, and South America. They've got 4.5 exahash, so nearly double what we've seen from Hut 8 Mining, and they're averaging about 16 Bitcoin per day, compared to Hut 8 Mining, who exited the month of December at an average of only 5.2 per day. So over 3 times more Bitcoin being produced from Bitfarms compared to Hut 8 Mining. Now, one of the big drawbacks here for Bitfarms is they're not as diversified as Hut 8 Mining, meaning all of their revenue actually comes from their Bitcoin mining operations. They don't have any other income streams, and they're facing some import challenges or restrictions in Argentina as they start to power up their new facility. So when I mentioned that Jamie Leverton from Hut 8 made a conscious decision to stay in Canada, this is exactly what I was referring to. Bitfarms has aggressive expansion plans in 4 countries throughout North and South America. But that means you have 4 times the regulation, government involvement, and overall hoops to jump through in order to make these Bitcoin mining facilities operational and functional. Now, despite that, Bitfarms managed to mine nearly 500 Bitcoin in the month of December, so 496 Bitcoin. They exited the month, as we mentioned, at 4.5 exahash or 188 megawatts of total operating capacity. And one thing that I was super excited to see from Bitfarms, and really one of the reasons I think they're starting to pull ahead on a daily basis from Hut 8 Mining, is they've fully now paid off their Bitcoin-backed loan facility, and all of their other debt is set to expire or be cleared up prior to the halving event in 2024. So they've got a much higher daily production rate, again about 3 times that of which we're seeing from Hut 8 Mining. So if and when we do see a sustained rally in the price of Bitcoin, Bitfarms is going to absolutely be able to put their foot on the gas and really produce a dramatic number of Bitcoin in a short amount of time. Now, in terms of some of the operational updates, you can see Jeff Morphy, just promoted to CEO of Bitfarms, says in December, we energized the remaining portions of their bunker Bunker and Garlock Farms, both located in Quebec, executing our Canadian expansion plan 2.5 months ahead of schedule. So Bitfarms has a track record of exceeding their targets or their timelines for a number of these expansion programs, and they've activated the full 96 megawatts in Sherbrooke, as well as completing their Warehouse 1 in Rio Cardo, Argentina. Now, if we scroll down and we look at some of the monthly numbers, you can see they mined about 496 Bitcoin, which was about 40 higher than we saw in the month of November. Their average Bitcoin per exahash came in at 113, so much more efficient than what we saw with Hut 8 mining. But the thing that really concerns me with the team at Bitfarms is they actually sold over 1,750 Bitcoin in the month of December. So you can see they gradually started selling in December of 2021. They sold 35 Bitcoin. Fast forward to November of 2022, they sold nearly double what they mined in the month. So 850 sold compared to 450 mined. And then in the month of December, they mined 500 Bitcoin, but they sold over 3 times that in order to pay off some of that debt. And that's exactly what they go on to talk about in their financial update. So we talked about this in our prior video. They sold their Della Point farm for $3.6 million in cash. They paid $16.5 million to fully extinguish their Bitcoin-backed loan facility. They paid down an additional $2 million in equipment-related debt. So that came out of that Bitcoin sale, again, which grossed them about $30 million. And based on that sale of their reserve, they now hold only 405 Bitcoin in custody as of the end of 2022. So this is really the key differentiator for me in my mind. Hut 8 Mining has a much lower production rate, but a massive reserve, 9,000 Bitcoin, compared to Bitfarms, who has a much higher production rate, about 3 times what we see with Hut 8 Mining, but substantially lower reserve at only 400 Bitcoin. Now, because I don't know how things are going to play out with the underlying price of Bitcoin moving forward, I'm betting on both horses in this race. Bitfarms really has the acceleration capacity here, whereas Hut 8 Mining is more of the slow and steady approach. However, they've got that huge reserve, which is going to give them a ton of value or market cap if and when we start to see the price of Bitcoin move. Now, last but not least, we have CleanSpark. This is a company that I recently started covering on the channel. We actually had a member of the leadership team on not too long ago to answer some questions. I'm looking forward to having Matt back again moving forward. The big claim to fame here is CleanSpark, as the name implies, is looking to have 100% clean energy supporting and powering their facilities, and they're 100% focused in America. So as you can see on the corporate website, we're leaning into our energy background to become America's Bitcoin miner, and if you continue to scroll down, you can see that commitment towards 100% renewable energy for this organization. So in terms of the numbers for the month of December, this came out January 4th. CleanSpark hit a new daily production high of 22 Bitcoin per day, so well above the 16 we saw from Bitfarms and about 4 times what we saw from Hut 8 Mining. They mined a record 4,621 Bitcoin in the calendar year 2022, and that was up 200% from the prior year. So seeing major acceleration from their mining capacity. And that's exactly what the CEO, Zach Bradford, goes on to say in his comments. Now, if we scroll down into the more detailed notes here, you can see they mined a total of 464 Bitcoin in the month of December, so slightly below what we saw from Bitfarms. So now that's a key differentiator here, you guys. Although they saw a higher maximum daily production at 22 Bitcoin, they weren't able to sustain that each and every day of the month. So they had a higher total maximum production on a daily basis, but overall lower production number compared to Bitfarms, but still substantially higher than Hut 8 Mining. And despite that huge production rate, CleanSpark currently only holds 228 Bitcoin in their reserve. So a very similar strategy to Bitfarms, where they have aggressive expansion in terms of their hash rate and production, but they're continually selling off their Bitcoin to finance their operation. Now, the one thing that CleanSpark did well here is they started selling their Bitcoin last year, so they were able to receive more money or better margins on the Bitcoin that they were selling. But in both of these situations, Bitfarms and CleanSpark, very low reserve compared to Hut 8 Mining. Now, CleanSpark has nearly 64,000 of the latest generation Bitcoin miners within their network and a hash rate of 6.2 exahash, which was up 13% from the prior month. So again, on a hash rate comparison, well ahead of either of the other two miners, with Bitfarms at about 4.4 and Hut 8 Mining in the neighborhood of about 2.5. And because of this 100% exposure or focus on the United States, they were really impacted by that big winter storm named Elliott that we saw in the month of December. So they actually had to power down up to 98% of their machines in Georgia. And they also saw an impact at their Norcross and New York sites. So again, one of the problems with that 100% focus or exposure to a single area or territory, and one of the contributing factors as to why they weren't able to outpace Bitfarms in terms of their total production for the month of December. So in my personal opinion, these are my top 3 crypto mining companies for 2023. I personally expect to see a major rebound in the price of Bitcoin, and because of that, I'm looking for heavy or overweight exposure to this sector. My biggest position is Hut 8 Mining, followed by Bitfarms. CleanSpark, I don't have anything open currently, but I'm looking to open a position in the near future. I'd be super curious to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Between these 3 companies, which ones you're holding, which ones you like, and why? If you're still watching the video at this point, hopefully you found some value, so make sure you hit the like button. And if you're not currently subscribed to the channel, McNallie Money, feel free to do so. That's all for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.